Welcome back to the Sovereign Ratio. While Bitcoin sits around 26K, potentially forming a trap, I think it's important to give some pointers on how to identify traps, why traps exist, and give some general tips about how to navigate a market where traps are very common. First and foremost, I want to say thank you and give a big shout out to everyone for 200 subscribers. I appreciate it very much. And if you are new here, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and leave me a comment below. So as most of you know, Bitcoin has had a big correction in the last couple of weeks from a lot of different indicators. We saw multiple drives of bearish divergence on the daily chart. We saw stochastic crossing down on multiple time frames. We saw the Bollinger Bands very contracted and ready for a movement, and that movement happened to be down. However, I think it's important in times like this, after a movement like this, to kind of understand how the market works, whether you're doing spot trading or leverage trading, and how traps work with big market makers. This morning, I just happened to see a perfect example of something on the 1 hour chart that you could use for leverage or spot trading, and also on short and long-term time frames as far as where to place an order. I think a lot of times people get in the mindset of they need to set at this certain price level or this certain price level to put an order in. But I think one of the best ways to trade is to trade and put in an order where you would put a stop loss. So ask yourself this question. If I was in a position right now, like let's say I was in a Bitcoin long right now, where would I set my stop loss? Let's say I got right on the bottom of this wick right here. Let's say I went long at 25,800 right here. And then there was a movement up and then a lot of profit taking here around the same place where this top of this candle is, right? But so I'm still long. I didn't close my position. I'm just kind of still in it, right? But look what happened this morning. There's a wick on this candle right here, just below where all the longs would have been opened right here. You can see it's just by a few dollars. So what happened is people had longs here and they had their stop loss right below that. And then people went hunting for the stop loss. Market makers went hunting for the stop loss. And that's how this works. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something else right here. People have a stop loss from this long right here. Let's say the stop loss is at 25.3. I could see another movement down to 25.3 to pick up all those stop losses before a move back up, because I do think Bitcoin looks pretty solid here for a bounce. I'm not 100% sure. I'm maybe 60% chance for a bounce, and I don't think it's going to be a big bounce. If we zoom out a little bit, I think it could potentially be a bounce up to this area of interest around 28.5, 28.6 if we were to get a nice solid bounce. But at that point, we would be running into multiple drives of resistance, particularly off this trend line here, and also some other trend lines that I've drawn that go all the way back further. We also have the bull market support band sitting up here around 28.5 right now. So for me, that's a point of interest around 28.5. If we were to go back up there, that's probably a place where if you do hold Bitcoin, you could probably, I wouldn't say take profits, but you could get out of your position and potentially wait to see what happens. Because what could happen, let me get my brush tool. What could happen is, we could see something like this and then a little sideways and then up to that 28.5 area and then a rejection around here. And then another movement all the way back down, all the way back to test 26 again. We never really know. All we can do is try to find a tradable channel, right? So to me, a tradable channel would be somewhere between 28.5 and 25.5. Really, there's a $3,000 channel here. And that's what I think could be established soon. Or if it does come up here to test this, we could see a lower low. If we go back and go a little lower, we have, some support way down here at 22.8. We have some at 21.5, and then we've previously had a wick all the way down at 20. I think this 21.5 area would be the next stop. If this general 25.5 to 26 area would break, I think the next stop is probably going to be down at 21.5. Also, as I've shown many times on this channel recently, we do have a golden pocket here between the 618 and the 0.65, between 21.2 and 21.7, and 21.3 to 21.5 fits really perfectly in that box. And I definitely think that is a major point of interest. If the 0.5 fails here at 23, somewhere between 23 and 23.5, and then also we are at the 382 right now, just kind of grinding sideways. If those were to break, definitely think 21.5, 21.3 would be a major point of interest. Right now, however, this has been a very boring weekend, and whenever times are like this, when Bitcoin is falling and we potentially could see a bounce or we could see further downside, I think it's better to preserve your capital and be out of the market as much as possible. So for me, the main play to make right now is a buy at 25.4 and a sell at 26.8. And ping-ponging back and forth between that range is what we have right now. If we were to establish a larger range, like I just said, again, it would be 25.5 to probably 28.5. I don't know that. This isn't financial advice, so don't follow what I'm doing. These are just ideas, and we're just kind of documenting the data and what I see. Look for a tradable channel in times like this, especially when times are negative sentiment and prices heading down. And again, keep in mind, if I was to be in a position right now, where would my stop loss be? Right? So the people that got in right here, let's just look at this one here. People that got in around the 24.8 area, their stop loss would probably be just a little bit below that, probably like 24.7 or 24.6. I could definitely see, again, I could see another wick coming down here to get those stop losses kicked off, and then maybe the move back up to 28.5 if we get it. But just keep in mind, ask yourself this question constantly when you're trading or buying cryptocurrency. What do the indicators say? What are the general direction? Are we more bullish or more bearish? And then from there, where would my stop loss be if I was in a position that followed the direction of those indicators? And that's where you want your entry to be most of the time. I would say there's probably a 70% chance of that at least being profitable in the short term if you trade that way. So hopefully you found that helpful, and maybe that'll help you in your trading. Again, not financial advice, but that is a good way to trade. And it also is a good way to preserve capital while Bitcoin just sits here and grinds sideways at 26K waiting for the next decision. Again, thank you for 200 subscribers. I appreciate it. I look forward to making more content. If you're new here, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, leave me a comment below, and we will see you in the next video. Safe trading.